How are you, man?
We in the Church of Comedy, boy.
Let's get it.
Yeah. Wash your hands.
That was crazy.
Hey, fucker! Somebody's bougie. Oh, my God.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Y'all blew up.
Your thoughts on, obviously, I'm assuming you watched the Super Bowl. You were with Mahomes quite a bit. I know losing those tackles was huge for them. He was on the move quite a bit. I saw a stat that said he scrambled for 497 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I heard that on the radio.
Yeah,
I was
before he
like,
even threw a pass.
Yeah, I was like, is that even
crazy.
Wow? That's incredible. But it just looked like they were out of sync. There was too much pressure. You know, they had chances. It looked like on the goal line. They get the goal line stop, and then it's like, they're just trying to make a play, and it didn't quite happen. What were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't foresee it happening the way it did. You know, I think for me, it all went back to the game they played earlier in the season, the Bucs and KC.
100%. Oh, I'm so excited to hear this from you.
You know,
okay,
the Bucs.
I watched it the day of the Super Bowl.
You know.
Okay, go.
Yeah, they
go.
challenged them on defense and got roasted. I mean, Tyreek had like 300 yards in the first half. I mean, the numbers that the offense put up, and you know, just huge play after huge play, and really, you know, I think kind of playing into the strengths of Pat and the Chiefs. You know, that you just can't cover him one-on-one, and you can't get to Pat. Like, even if you're bringing an extra guy, he's so good at buying a little time and still be able to deliver the football. So my thoughts coming off that were like, well, there's no way they're going to let Tyreek get loose like that again. You know, they're definitely going to play. You know, going to play some sort of two shell. And I think that missing the tackles played into that, because it's like, well, we got a good D line. Let's rush forward and see if we can get home. Let's sit in a two shell. Let's make these guys march the length of the field. They haven't had to do that all season because they've been so explosive. Dare them to run the football. Dare them to throw it underneath all day. And I felt like they didn't, you know, they weren't ready for that. They weren't patient enough. I felt like they kept trying to push it downfield because they've been able to do it all year. They've been able to impose their style on anybody. And I think that the combination of the tackles being out, and then honestly with the toe, I really felt like, I know Patrick hasn't said it, but he ran for 500 yards before he ever threw a ball on a bad toe that's going to require surgery. Like, by the end of the game, he clearly, you could tell he wasn't the same Pat that we've all been used to seeing. And I think the combination of the toe with the tackles, and then they didn't ever, I felt like, adjust. I kept waiting in the second half. Like, I feel like we've seen, like, a couple quarters teams stop the Chiefs, but like, it's like nothing, and they can snap right in and you know, snap off like 3 touchdowns. So I kept waiting for the second half for them to make their adjustments and kind of do that, and just never did it. Never got to any of the underneath stuff. Never ran the ball. You know, obviously they were behind, and I felt like even then they kept trying to push it downfield, and it just made it worse.
Yeah, no, I agree. They got down by too much. It was tough to run the ball at that point because you got to get points. The other thing too, when you talked about that game from earlier in the season, I watched it before the Super Bowl just to go back and check it out, and I was kicking myself because all week leading up to the game, I think the Chiefs win. I think they could potentially blow them out, blah, blah, on TV and doing all the media stuff. And then I'm like, damn.
I was doing the same thing, by the way.
I'm like, the Bucs, they didn't, so like, they got caught on that double move by Tyreek Hill, but they didn't beat the coverage. They beat the cornerback. The cornerback barely jumped. He barely bit on the out fake, and then Tyreek just blew by him. So they weren't like out scheming the Bucs in that game. They just beat a player, not the coverage. And so I'm like, you know, they're really not like in bad position. They challenged them. They ran some of their 33 double cloud that caught him a couple times. They ran it a ton in the Super Bowl. And you saw Pat go through, like, with get ready for his RPO. He goes to flash fake, and then he kind of gets caught for a second, thinking he's getting one thing, realizes it's another. That's just enough time for the defense, right? That hesitation at quarterback, boom. Now it's a different play. Now it's a different outcome, and it's better for the Bucs. But after watching that game, I was like, I would be happy if I'm Todd Bowles. Maybe not happy, but this is inspiring film because guys, we're doing fine. We're doing just fine. We could run this game plan right back.
Yep.
And they made it a game. They came back and made it a game. They just got down in a 17-point hole, and they couldn't dig their way out. But damn, after watching that game, I was so upset that I didn't talk about that during the week. I would have had the call of the century. But let's talk about the Bucs for a little bit, because go. Finish your thought. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it's nothing. It's no different. Like, obviously, sometimes as an offense, you go play a D and they shut you out, and they have one game plan, and you get to come at them the second time. It's so much fuel, and that film is so valuable to see how they defended you, and to try to duplicate it. You know, like it's hard. It's the same thing. I felt like they took KC's best shot. They got to look at it on film. They had success in the second half, and it's kind of. I thought it was such. You know, it really did help them. I thought they made great adjustments. Obviously. Getting ready for obviously this last weekend.
Yeah, 100%. What about what you saw from the Bucs? Because you didn't get to play in the playoff game. Heineke goes in, gives it his best shot, and hats off to him. He played his butt off. But watching that game, I'm like, there's no way the Bucs. I don't think they're winning another playoff game before they went to New Orleans. I'm like, They hung in there with Washington's a tough team. Couple pieces away, could have really used your help. I think would have made it even tighter game, and you guys might have knocked them out of the playoffs, in my opinion. But I'm like, that ain't the Super Bowl champ. It's the Saints, it's the Packers, it's somebody else, it's the Chiefs. What did you see in that game from them? And was there ever a moment in that game where you're like, they might be able to make this thing work, or were you like, we kind of missed today. I think we could have got them.
I was more in your camp. I really thought. I knew they were explosive on offense. Tom's still playing good. They can run the ball. They got a couple backs, and obviously they got a ton of weapons outside. So you knew they were good on offense. Really on defense, though, I kind of thought the same thing. Like that they, I don't know if it was that game. I didn't feel like their pass rush really was as great as we thought. Although obviously this last Sunday they really came to play. So I didn't. I definitely was thinking, God, like I thought Saints. I definitely thought Green Bay was gonna roll. The way they were playing, I did not see Tampa Bay doing this. I think after our game, though, you do look, I thought it was the same thing. They got a second crack, or a third crack, I should say, at New Orleans. They also played New Orleans right after the Chiefs, I think, in November, and got blown out like 38-3. Got blown out. And then they go to New Orleans and beat them. So I felt like they did. I mean, they took some of these teams' great shots and they got a second chance at them and made the proper adjustments. So hats off to them. I do think their defense played great down the stretch against some good offenses. They played great versus New Orleans, great versus Green Bay, and then obviously awesome to hold the Chiefs to no touchdowns. So I think their offense has been productive all year, and I think they've been doing that. I thought on defense I thought they made great adjustments.
Yeah, no doubt.